can you see that? There is mold starting to grow on my naked palette. This is the reason we are doing this video today. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing another decluttering video. This time we are going through all of my makeup, which lives in the top 3 drawers of this little set here. I wasn't planning on decluttering my makeup this year because I haven't actually bought any makeup since 2018. So everything that I have in my collection now is a product that I love and I want to keep around. However, as you saw, there is mold starting to grow on my naked palette, which just tells me that there is makeup in here that I have had for too long and I need to get rid of it even if I love it, because I can't be putting makeup that's gone bad on my skin. There's also products in here that I'm just not gonna get to in time because I use makeup so slowly and I have quite a few of certain categories in here. There's products that even if they're not moldy now, I'm just not going to use them in time for them to still be good, so I may as well pass them on to someone else who will use them before they go bad, because otherwise no one gets to use them. So I am going to have to be very cutthroat in today's decluttering video because I think seeing that mold on my naked palette is exactly what I needed to really kick me into gear and actually get rid of all the things that I'm not going to get to in time. I'll link my decluttering playlist up here as well as in the description box if you do want to have a little decluttering binge watch. And if you are new to my channel, then please feel free to subscribe. I upload at least one new video every single week. And let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so this is my current makeup collection here. I'm going to sit down here so I can show you some swatches. I've got some baby wipes with me, so we are good to go. I think we should start over here with the palettes since this is the thing that started the whole decluttering off. We know I'm going to definitely need to declutter the naked palette. I think most of the shades are probably still okay, but there's mold on mostly this one, but there's also mold on 2 of the other shades as well. So that definitely needs to go. I can't pass this on to anyone. Needs to go in the bin, unfortunately. I think this is my oldest. It's definitely my oldest palette. I don't know if it's my oldest makeup product. I've definitely had it for a long time though, and it should have probably gone a while ago. So let's start a decluttering pile there. The Lorac Pro Palette, you probably know I'm trying to pan this year, so I'm definitely keeping this one. So we'll start a keep pile on this side. My YSL palette is probably my favorite, so I'm definitely keeping this one as well. Festival palette I love for all the gorgeous colors that are in there, and I think this is actually my most recent palette as well, so this one is all good to keep. Tartelette Toasted palette. This one I really don't think I've used a lot. I do like the colors that are in there and I like the looks that I come up with when I do use it, but I just find that I think given a choice I would prefer to reach for one of my other palettes, so I think I'm actually going to pass this one along so that someone else can get some proper use out of it. The Colourpop Yes Please palette, I actually used this today. I really love the nice bright like summery colors in here, so I'm going to keep this one. The Zulu by Juvia's, oh my gosh, this has like, if I really want a bright eyeshadow look, this is what I'm going to be reaching for. And I have used it in the last couple of weeks as well, so keeping that one. And then Soul Blooming. Now I have actually used this in the last couple of weeks. I do love it for this lilac shade Flowery. I think this is, well, it's not super unique, like you can find it in other palettes, but I don't have it anywhere else in my collection, so that's why I keep this palette. But I think aside from that one shade, everything else is, you know, something that I could find in one of my other palettes, and I really don't like the shimmery shade, so I think it might be time to pass this one on to someone that's going to get more use out of it than just that one shade. We may as well do my single eyeshadows at the same time. I just have 4 single eyeshadows. I'm going to keep my Stila Magnificent Metals and Smoldering Satin because, oh, actually let me swatch it because you never know if the product's still okay. I haven't used it in a while. Yeah, that looks like it's all good. So I am going to keep this because it's my only like liquid eyeshadow formula that I have, so definitely something unique to my collection. I've also got this little Makeup Geek pigment in Sugar Rush. This is a really unique shade it's like white with a bit of a blue tinge to it. Again, it's my only loose pigment, and it's also a super unique shade in my collection, so I'm going to keep that one as well. And then I have this Loxi Pigment. This is in the shade After Party. It's this top one here. It is very, very beautiful, but it's a little annoying that it's still in its little pouch that it comes in. I kept it because I thought I was going to buy like an empty makeup palette and fill it with singles, but I'm not buying makeup anymore, and I'm much more likely to reach for a palette that I already have, so I think I'm going to pass this to someone else to use before it goes bad because I'm just not really using it. It's just a convenience factor. I think if I had it in a palette I would use it, but the fact that I have to get it out of this little package every time I want to use it means that I'm not really reaching for it. And then my only other single is the Wet n Wild Creme Brulee. It's just a nice little bone shade that you can use to set your eyeshadow primer. I haven't used it recently. I've kept it for when I run out of this type of shade in my palettes. Actually, let me check my palettes and see how many of this type of shade I have in them. So in the Lorac Pro Palette that I'm using this year, there's this cream shade which I have hit pretty significant pan on, but there's also this white one that I can use for the same purpose. I'm hoping to have used both of those up by the end of the year, but at the moment I still have those. And then there's also a pretty similar one in the Colourpop palette that I can use for the same purpose. And there is also the cream shade in my YSL palette. So I think by the time I've used up those 4 shades, this one may not be good anymore. So I think while it is still good, I'm going to pass it to somebody else. This is a pretty easy little section here because this is my older foundation that is almost empty, so I'm keeping it until I've used it up. This is my new one that I'm going to start using once the other one's empty. And this is my one and only primer that I have, so I'm keeping all 3 of those. And then we are on to this row here, which is blush, which is going to be tricky for me because I love blush, but I'm not going to love them once I start growing mold on them. So I do need to try and be really cutthroat and get rid of a couple at least. This is pretty tricky because I do genuinely love all of these blushes, but I know that this one is my oldest blush in my collection. This is from Natio in the shade Rosewood, and I kept it around because it's my only really neutral toned blush, but I know it's my oldest one, and at the moment I'm using a blush from my Lorac Pro Palette because I'm trying to pan it, so I'm not going to be using any of my blushes this year, so I'm going to have to get rid of this one so somebody else can use it before it goes bad. I think I'm also going to declutter my Benefit Havana blush because I know this is one of my oldest blushes as well. I kept it around for that cool toned lilac-y shade, which is unique to my collection, but I do also have this Tarte blush in Exposed, which is not a lilac-y shade, but it is cool toned, so I can probably use that one in place of this, although they're not quite the same, you know. I can use them in place of each other, so I'm going to declutter the older one, and I'll keep Tarte Exposed. I really want to keep all the other blushes. This is the oldest one out of what's left, I think. This is MAC Desert Rose. That's the shade of it there. It is quite a deep blush on me, but I really do love it. It looks like it's still fine, so I'm going to keep that one. And then these last 3 are all very like kind of peachy warm toned. Oh, that one barely shows up at all. I don't know if you can even see this one. This one here, just above the pink, is MAC Warm Soul. It's very subtle. I do love it though in summer. This one here is Clinique Peach Pop, which is one of these beautiful flower blushes. I love this. It's almost like a gel formula. Probably one of my most reached for blushes. And then another very, very subtle one. On the top here, we've got Bobbi Brown Nectar. I don't even know if you can see that on camera. It's super subtle. It's right up the top here. But again, I do love it. That's the sort of makeup that I love, is just quite natural, subtle makeup. I really do want to keep all of those. Blush really is my weakness, so I promise I'll do better with bronzers. Okay, I think I need to swap sides and sit over there. Okay, so here we have the line of bronzers. Now, a lot of these are very old, so I'm going to start at the top, I guess. This Hourglass Ambient Lighting Trio. Now, yeah, they're not really bronzers. This one is more like a highlighter. This one kind of is a bronzer on me, and then this one I never really know what to do with. This is just so old in my collection, and I barely ever use it. I can't really use all the shades anyway because they're just not quite right for my skin tone, so I'm gonna pass this on while it's still good to be used. I'll just move my declutter pile over so you can see it again. The Bare Minerals bronzer is one of my newer ones actually. I picked this up in 2018 just before I kind of stopped buying makeup, so that one should be good for me to keep for now. And then the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. My friend gave me this, but she gave it to me like a really long time ago, so I think I am gonna pass this one on for someone else to use and love before it goes bad. Hula Bronzer, same thing. I've had this for a really long time and I do like it, and I do, you know, I use it on occasion, but like I said, I'm not using any of my bronzers this year because I'm using a shade from my Lorac Pro Palette. So this is not going to get used at all this year. None of my bronzers are. So unless it's still going to be good and ready for me to use next year, then I need to kind of declutter them. And this one is very old and it's barely been used, so I'll pass that one on as well. I have this little Revolution duo. It has the bronzer and the highlighter. Again, this is something that I bought right at the end of 2018, so this one is one of my newer items in my collection, so I'm going to keep this. And then the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil little mini bronzer. Again, pretty old, need to pass it on. I thought that I could use this up because it was small, but you know, I've had it for years and I haven't even hit pan, so time to pass it on to someone who will use it. That was a really good row. I kept 2 bronzers and got rid of 4, which means we are on to the row of highlighters. Let's start at the top again. So I have the Exo Beauty highlighter in Aurora, which is very subtle and I like it, but I don't think I need it because I have others that I prefer, and this one is probably starting to get quite old. I think I probably had this for about 3 years. And again, I have a highlighter from the Lorac Pro Palette that I'm using this year, so anything that's not like my favorite highlighter is gonna have to go. And I've already kept 1 highlighter in the Revolution duo, so you know, I need to think about how many highlighters do I really need. Not this one. Then I have MAC Lightscapade, which is a very similar product. It's again very subtle, beautiful, but again, one of my older highlighters. I'm gonna pass this one on as well. This does pain me a little bit because, like I said, I love everything that's in my makeup collection, and I do love this, but I have others that I love that are newer, that are gonna last me longer. Like, for example, this one from Bare Minerals, which is again very subtle and beautiful, and I love it. So this one is basically the same product as the last 2 that I showed you in terms of how it looks on the skin. So this is my newer product of the 3, and this is going to be the one that I keep. And then my other 2 bronzers are both gifts from Melody, and they're both more recent items in my collection, and they're totally different to the Bare Minerals one that I just kept because they're different colors for a start, and they're also much less subtle. So the Jouer one in Citrine is a gold shade, and then the Bobbi Brown Pink Glow is a beautiful pinky shade. So I'll keep both of those as well. Which brings us to a bit of a mishmash of various items. I have 2 face powders. So I have the Maybelline Fit Me, which I have hit pan on, and I do want to keep this because it would be really cool to see this get used up. And then I also have the Too Faced Primed and Poreless powder, which is the newer one of the 2. It's also my favorite of the 2, but I want to use the other one up first. And then I have 2 mascaras. So this one is a little mini from Clinique, which I was using, and then my friend Melody got me the Lancome Monsieur Big for Christmas, which I was really excited to try, and I love it, which means I don't think I need to be using this one anymore. I haven't used it since Christmas when I got this one. So, you know, it's just been sitting in my drawer unused for the last 6 or 7 months. So I think it's time for the little one to go and just keep the one that I'm using. I have one eyeshadow primer, gotta keep that. One concealer, need to keep that. One eyebrow gel, gotta keep that. And then this is just like a little brush cleaner. And then we're on to the last category, which is lipsticks. So I've kind of separated these into color piles. So we've got nudes, pinks, reds, one purple, and then some deeper reds here. I want to try and be really ruthless and not keep color double ups, and also not keep colors that I don't wear. And I'll do some swatches as we go. So let's start with these red shades. The first one is from YSL. Beautiful berry toned red. But the problem is I also have the Clinique Matte Pop in Icon Pop, which is very similar. I mean, they actually don't look super similar in color on my hand there, but I mean, how often am I really gonna wear a deep red? And once they're on your lips, they do look pretty similar, so I don't think I need both. And the Clinique one is the older one, so I'm gonna get rid of that and keep the YSL. And then I have the Clarins Rouge Eclat in Wood Rose, which I think is a pretty similar color, but the formula is totally different. Oh yeah, it's way more sheer. And this is one of my oldest lipsticks, but I do still get quite a lot of use out of it. It still smells okay, it still looks okay, so I think we're all good. You know when you stain your hand and then realize it was a silly idea to do your darkest lipsticks first. So maybe we should jump to nudes instead. So the Clinique Matte Pop in Blushing Pop is one of my favorite lipsticks. It is very similar to MAC Velvet Teddy. So that's Clinique Blushing Pop there and MAC Velvet Teddy. This is like the one color double up that I do want to keep, because this is the sort of lipstick that I wear to work every single day. So I think I will actually get through both of these before they go off. When I repurchase, I'll only repurchase one at a time. But I do love both of these, and genuinely I think I'm gonna get through them. So I'll keep both of those. Those are both mattes, and then I have two nudes that are more of like a creamy formula. So the first one is MAC Kinda Sexy, and then I have Clinique Beige Pop. Oh, you're joking. So this MAC one is actually a matte formula. I applied it and I was like, that's not that creamy. And then this is the Clinique one, which is actually a creamy formula. I might need to get rid of this one because I don't need 3 matte lipsticks that are all basically the same shade or a very similar shade, and this is the one that I wear the least out of the 3. I'll keep this one because it's the only like creamy nude that I have. But yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on MAC Kinda Sexy. Then for the pinks, again, I have the same 2 brands. I have the Clinique Matte Pop and the MAC, and I'm pretty sure these are very similar colors. So the Clinique one is called Graffiti Pop. Beautiful, bright, kind of deep pink. And then the MAC one is Speak Louder, which is a cream sheen formula. Yeah, they are very similar colors. They're not exactly the same. The Clinique Matte Pop formula is my favorite lipstick formula. I love both of these lipsticks, and the Clinique one is older. So in this case, I think I'm gonna keep the MAC and declutter the Clinique one. This pile here, they're not all reds. They're kind of like pinky and reds, but like not deep pinks like the ones we just went through. This first one here is Natio Paradise. I've known for a while that I want to get rid of this. It's absolutely gorgeous, but it just doesn't look the best on my skin tone. And it's also super old. So that one is, I'm going to declutter. The Lancome Lapsulu Gloss is pretty, well, not new, but like this is one of my newer products, and I absolutely love this one on. Definitely keeping this. Oh, then we have one that I can't swatch. This is the Clinique Chubby Stick in Chunky Cherry, and I've actually used so much of this that it goes all the way inside the barrel now. I'm still using it. I'm using a little lip brush to scoop it out and apply it onto my lips, but I can't swatch it for you because, you know, it doesn't stick out of the barrel anymore. I'm so close to being done with this. I just want to use it up. I absolutely have loved it though. And then the Clinique Matte Pop again in Icon Pop. So that's my one like bright red lipstick. Definitely want to keep that. I wear this every time Christmas rolls around. It's pretty much my go-to bright lipstick. And then the very last lipstick that I have down here is another Clinique Matte Pop. This one is Pow Pop, which is a purple. And I've kept it because I love it. Like, the formula is absolutely gorgeous, but like, how often do I wear a purple lipstick? I don't think I do. And I've kept it because like, well, what if I want to? But like, I don't want to because I would much rather wear a nude lipstick, or if I want a bright color, it's probably gonna be the red. And I've got a bunch of other bright colors as well, you know, like I've got that gorgeous pink, I've got this gorgeous gloss. Like, I'm not gonna need a purple. I'm certainly not going to use it enough times to use it before it goes off. So I'm going to pass it to someone else while it's still beautiful and all good. And I think that's everything. Let's see how much I ended up getting rid of. So here we have everything that I'm getting rid of in these two rows here, and everything that I'm keeping up on this end here. So I've ended up decluttering 19 items here, and I'm keeping 35 items, which means that I've decluttered more than a third of my collection, which I think is pretty good. And I know there's still some categories where I have kept a lot. Like 5 eyeshadow palettes is still quite a lot of eyeshadow to get through, and I think I've still got 5 blushes, which is also quite a lot to get through. But at least I've cut down a fair amount. So that is going to wrap up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again next time. Bye!